In the previous tutorial, you have learned about the custom authentication system and email verification during registration, as well as you learned recently that how we can accept the form fields and store them inside the database, inside of our own database. But what about if we need to send some data from our form to an external server, or maybe an other web application, or maybe another website that there where we need to store the data? For example, there are several use cases, like we want to send the data to the Google Sheets. Maybe we want to send some data to the Discord, maybe Slack, or some platforms like automation tools to execute some workflows, like for example Anitian, Make, and the other tools like Zapier. So this is where the webhooks comes in, because webhooks allows us to send the data from one server to another by using the HTTPS request, and mainly it is the post request. If you don't know about this, it is a bit of technical thing that I just told, but don't worry about this, because we are using the Bricks built-in feature that allows us to perform the webhook. You don't have to write the code at this stage. We are only using the Bricks built-in form. So you just need to go to the any page. You can create any page. I'm using the home page as an example. Just go to the edit with Bricks, and I'm adding a section and using the form element. So I'm just importing it here. It is up to you that how you want to design it, but for now I am going to just place the auto here, and setting its maximum width to 45 rem. That should be enough, and it is now in the center. Inside the form we have these fields which has some different types, and you can see you can select any of these types. I'm just deleting it here. I'm just making the newsletter form where the people have to just put their name and the email. So I've just created these two email field, name and email fields. And the next thing is the submit button. Right now you can see it is sent. I'm saying it subscribe. Okay, subscribe, and you can style it however you want, but I'm just closing it. And this is the main part. So currently, if I click on subscribe, then what will happen? The email will send to the administrator email. Okay, so this is the email where it will send, but I don't need this action. There are several actions that can be performed, like webhook, redirect, MailChimp, SendGrid, but I don't need any of these. What I need only the webhook, because this is what we are talking about. And when you enable the webhook, you will see this tab here, webhook. Before that, you will not see any of this tab, and you need to select the action from here, and then this tab will enable. From here you need to place the endpoint. Okay, so click on add endpoint, and it will now ask you for the endpoint URL. So from where you can get this URL, basically when you are sending the data to another server, that receiving server will give you this URL. For example, if you are sending some data to Zapier, which is an automation workflow platform, then they will provide you the webhook URL that you need to paste here. Similar case is that, but for the testing purpose, what I am doing here, I will go to this website, which is webhooks.site. Okay, so this is a site. Whenever you will open it, they will give you a very unique URL that you can use to perform the webhook. So what will happen? I am now will send the data to this website. So I'm just placing this, and I'm calling it WP site. This is just for the name of this tab. So I'm just typing it WP site, which is the name of the webhook, and you can name it whatever you want. And then is data format, which is JSON form. I need to place the JSON in this format. You can see the format here. I will just use the brackets and then name. Now from where I will get this ID, because I need to map the data, map the actual data that user is typing from. So from where I can get this type of ID, you just need to go here inside the fields and click on any of the fields that you want. In our case, we have this field like name and the email. So just whenever you click on this field, just scroll down, and this is the ID that you need to put here. And I'm just scrolling back inside the webhook, click on WP write, and follow this pattern. You need two brackets. Okay, so if you place only the one bracket, then this will not work. But right now you can see that it is giving me the error. Why? Because JSON accepts a double quotations mark. So right now you can see that I did not place the double quotation mark on both the side on key and the value. This is the key that I'm sending and this is the value. Okay, so if I try to submit it now, I have only placed the name field. If I go here inside the front end form, and from here I'm just placing like John at the rate example.com. That's it. I'm submitting this data. Right now you can see the message sent successfully. The message sent successfully is because this is the message that you can change as well, and just go to the actions, and this is the success message. But I want it like maybe webhook sent or maybe noted. So for demonstration, I'm just placing it like noted. So the next time if I submit this data, then you will see that it will be noted instead of this. And now if I try to see the data that I sent, this is the data that was sent. Okay, so you see that the data that we sent using the form. So if I want to demonstrate it again, now I am putting another data, which is Edward, and then just click on subscribe. Noted, this time this is noted because I have changed the success message, and just go here and you can see this data has been submitted. Now I need to map the other field as well. What I will do, I will just go to the fields, click on the email, scroll down, copy the ID of the email, and just go to the webhook. Inside the webhook, I need to comma and place the next one. The next one is the email that I need to send. And again, I need double quotation mark and double brackets, and I place the ID. Now, if I try to submit it again, let's say I'm submitting another data, john2 at the rate example.com, and then click on subscribe. Now you will see that this data has been received, the John and with the email address. You can see that our form is working totally fine, and there are several other options inside there. Here you can send the headers part. So some applications or websites will ask you to send the authorization code as well, that you are authorized for the specific request or not. So from here you can just put like authorization token, just with the same pattern that we are using, authorization and bearer, and here is will be the token, maybe some token that they will tell you. Then you can just place it here and you will be able to send it according to the specific requirements of the headers, but the pattern will be same. Okay, so you don't have to worry about this at this stage, because this site doesn't require any authorization. You are able to send the data without any restriction. Now if I just close it and go here, I can see that I can also add another endpoint. For example, and this could be helpful, like if we are sending our data to like Zapier, maybe I need to send it to an ATN, maybe I need to send to another service, maybe some website has requested our data, that there may be some requirement that where you need to send the form data to multiple places at the same time. But maybe you have some backup server, backup website where you want to send some data. This is where you can add the endpoints and other endpoint, which means another webhook to send some data. So in this case, I don't need any of these. And from here, you can see the maximum payload size. For this like name and email, the size will be like 0.1 KB. This is enough. The file size is enough. You need to increase it if you are sending large amount of files through the request. So for now, we don't need to change any of these settings. So there is a rate limiting feature which can allow you to limit the form submissions request per hour. This will protect your form from the bots or from spamming of from these users. So like for example, in this case, the default when I enable this, the default maximum request per hour is 60, which is enough, but you can set it like 100, because some webhooks, some websites will require the protection, and they need the protection. If your form is sending like a number of data, for example, if your website is sending like thousands of submissions at a specific hour, then they will restrict your account, maybe depending on the website service that you are using. For the default, you can set it like 100. So there is a continue on error. Continue on error means that if enable, form submission will succeed even the webhook fails. But we don't need to enable this data, because sometimes maybe you need it, but we don't need at this stage, and we don't want to error log it. Error message, you can customize this message as well, just like we did the success message. You can do this. Let me give you a very quick example of the real world use case. Here you can see that I was using the Webhook site to test our Webhook. I'm going to delete it. I am currently using local WP, and you can use whatever you want for the local development, but you can see that I have set up this site, and I have created another instance of the WordPress where I am using MailerPress plugin. So MailerPress is like a email marketing solution for the WordPress. Here you can see that we have this incoming webhooks. Incoming and outgoing webhooks means that incoming means that this is the website, this is the server that is receiving our data. So I'm just clicking it here, and you can see that I have created a webhook. You just don't need to learn about it. I'm just giving you an example that how the real world works with. So there, the software that maybe you are using will have a similar structure, like you need to create a webhook URL at that space, or maybe your clients send you the URL that you need to put. But for my case, I'm just creating it like a new URL, webhook URL from my other website, and just by doing this, I have this webhook URL which I can place, and I have placed the condition here where creates a new context. What it will do, it will when receive the data, it supports some the fields like email, first name, last name, subscription. There is no name field, right? I am going to create the content and add to the list. Okay, so this is a list that I have just created. So if you have used the MailChimp, then this is like a similar process, and I'm just going to save it, coming in here, and I'm calling it whatever you want. I'm calling it MP Webhook and putting the email, the endpoint address. If I go here now and use the same details, I'm going to fill it up. Now that we have this field, this data and the URL, if I try to submit it now, you receive this error. Why this happened? Because the requirement you saw here, because we need to read the requirement, what they are accepting, which fields they are accepting, which type of data they are accepting. So it's up to us that we ask for someone. If someone is sending the URL of the webhook, then we need to ask them that which type of data that we need to send. Either it is a form field, form data, or the JSON format. And if there is a JSON format, then tell us which fields we need to send them. Like it could be email, maybe message, maybe something else. So in our case, we read this that supports the email, the first name, the last name, and we need to figure this out. So for example, they are not supporting the name field, they are only supporting the first name and the last name. So I'm using the first name field, just going inside it, and instead of the name, I'm using the first name this time. Now if I try to add the details again, let's see if it works. demo@example.co. So it just failed again. But why is that? The reason is we are using local WP. The first reason is this one. Second reason could be the payload, which means the data that we are sending, the URL is not accepting. Third reason could be an SMTP issue. So in our case, if I'm trying to send even the accurate data, means the accurate payload that they required, even if I send only the email, then they should be acceptable, because that is optional in the MailerPress case, which means here, what could be the issue? The issue is we are using the local WP, and we are sending from one site, from one local site to another local site, and WordPress is not trusting that URL. What we need to add a little bit of code. What I'm going to do, I will go here and see that if I've added the child theme, you can add this code which I'm going to add inside the Core Snippets plugin, or by installing the child's theme from the Bricks Builder dashboard. I'm going to go to the theme file editor and go to the functions.php. Now this is a function. Make sure that you edit inside the Bricks child theme and select from here first. The code that I am going to add it here is this one. What it does, it is now allowing the external URL and considering it as an external URL, not a local one. So HTTP request host is external, we are making it true. If the host is the MailerPress.local, which is this local website, then allow this and return to true. So what will happen? It will start to work. And the reason is we are now like whitelisting a URL, and usually it happens on the local machine. And if it happens on your server, for example, where you are sending the data and your WordPress is not allowing you to whitelist that specific URL, then you can just remember this code. And on live websites, this doesn't even happen because you are sending the request from the real website server to the real website server. And means the website A is also real, website 2 is also real. Those are not local. So I'm using the local WP, and that is why I face this issue. If I try to save it now and go to the bricks and try to submit it again, then you noted that it worked. And if I go inside my audience, and from here you can see the demo@example.com has been worked. If I try to submit another one like john@example.com and subscribe, and it worked again. So this could be the reason. I'm going to refresh it, and you can see that it is working totally fine. That was the issue. Even though now if I'm sending this name, or maybe if I'm only sending the email data, then it should work fine because the MailerPress is not required us to send the specific. So now you have a better idea about the webhooks, how we are sending the data from our WordPress website to another webhook URL. So if you have any query, you can comment below. And if you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe this channel. Give this video a thumbs up. I will see you in the next tutorial.